It's an old laptop. The question before us, is the juice worth the squeeze? Let's find out. It's a Toshiba laptop.
Ooh!
It's a satellite. Model 650D. We always download the fine manual when working on any PC, but especially tricky laptops. With Vision AMD graphics. We got boring ports on the side, VGA out, an Ethernet input, headphones and microphone and USB ports. And a missing spacebar. Keyboard feels spongy too. Suspicious. Before we get started, let's clean the screen. It's filthy. Here's the original charger. The plug looks bent up. No voltage out of it. So, new charger. Why not? Let's plug it in and see if it boots. Wait, a boot up screen? That doesn't happen very often. Usually the hard drive is completely borked in laptops. I'm going to cut to the chase here. All three choices are bad. They all end up rebooting the system and returning to the same screen. Let's take a look at the BIOS. We got a dual-core AMD Athlon clocking at 2.2 GHz, 4 gigs of memory. Not exactly promising, but the clock time is almost correct. As always, remove the battery before working on laptops, even though I suspect this one is dead as a doornail. So let's do some upgrades. First, the hard drive. One screw holds the drive in place. It's tiny, so be careful. And we'll gently wiggle and pry the old hard drive out. Hard drives, old and new. We'll put in a zippy new SSD to replace the spinning rust. How about some more RAM? We'll pull off the RAM cover. Out with the old RAM and in with the new. A quick upgrade from 4 gigs to 8 gigs. Go back to the BIOS, and it sees both the new SSD and the new RAM. So far, so good. What operating system to install? Why, Linux Mint, of course. We'll boot using a USB first to make sure all is well. After booting from a USB, we can install it onto the SSD. It took 20 minutes, but there was some extra setup I didn't record. But it's running hot. A warm breeze is coming out of the fan vent, and the keyboard needs to be replaced. So we'll need to repaste the CPU. We'd better check the manual before getting into the guts of this thing. This looks a little involved. Sorry if the diagrams didn't capture correctly. Oh well. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I had to remove the battery, hard drive, and over 20 screws on the back side of this puppy. I didn't video this because it would have been boring. This is when I began to think there was going to be trouble. A few of the screws were missing, suggesting someone had already been inside, or there was something broken inside. First, we gently pry off the top strip. Then I removed the 4 keyboard screws. Some of them came out too easily. Not a good sign. And lifted out the keyboard We'll replace that later. After gently pulling some connectors out, we can remove the inside cover and get deeper into the system. We'll pull the fan next, and after that we can pull the system board. What a pain in the butt! At last, we can get to the CPU heatsink and the heatsink tie-down screws. Ancient dried-up heatsink grease, a little alcohol, a couple of dabs of Arctic 4, and we're good to go. The screen hinges are rather stiff. My two go-to lubricants are Singer sewing machine oil and 3-in-1 oil. The Singer oil is lighter and is good for small computer fans. 3-in-1 is heavier and tends to leave a bit of a residue and odor. I use both because the 3-in-1 wasn't helping to loosen up the stiff hinges. The sewing machine oil was a little better, but the hinges are still hard to move. Oh fudge! The plastic mount on one of the hinges is broken. This is not good at all. After removing the screws, I plastered on some JB Weld and reinserted the broken part. I chose an epoxy resin instead of superglue because the epoxy takes more time to set, and I had time to wiggle the piece into place. With superglue, if you don't get the piece lined up perfectly and it sets, you're screwed. But that should hold the mount in place. Nope. It broke again during reassembly. Now we move from repair to salvage. We have a working screen with attached Wi-Fi card and the main body of the system. But after all this horsing around, does it still work? Amazingly, it still does. I can attach a monitor via the VGA port. I could have reinstalled the Wi-Fi card, but I couldn't fit the keyboard back in with the antennas in the case. Not very useful, but it still boots. And the CPU? Nice and cool. So was the juice worth the squeeze? Definitely not. The body would make a compact unit, but it's still old and slow, even with more RAM and an SSD. I used up a lot of time messing with the fiddly bits, both disassembly and reassembly, but I'm glad of the experience. Even in failure, you can learn things. Thanks for watching. If you like my work, even if I don't succeed, like, comment, subscribe. I'm a tiny channel, and every interaction really makes my day. Keep trying even if you fail. Salvage what you can, and as always, stay curious.